You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
Well, on the tennis court, the shoes grace the feet of U.S. Open semifinalist Ben Shelton. The company is also working with world number one Iga Swiatek to develop the perfect custom shoe for her. And of course, the tennis legend Roger Federer has invested in the company. And the company, by the way, the ADRs that are traded here in the U.S., Carol, they're up nearly 70% so far this year.
You can hear a lot and see a lot about the company and its chief financial officer. It's all in a new edition of Chief Future Officer on Bloomberg Television that has aired. We're talking about On Holding, the Switzerland-based parent company of On Shoes. And we've got with us here in the Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio, Martin Hoffmann. He's Chief Financial Officer. He's also co-CEO of On Holdings, which is really kind of fascinating. We want to get into a lot of stuff. How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah.
Well, you know, what's interesting is I want to get a feel of your business. It's Jobs Day here in the United States, so we focus a lot on the labor market. We saw some softness. You guys work around the world. How would you describe kind of the business environment and the job market for you guys? Is it easy to get the workers that you need?
I mean, generally, business is very good. So demand remains very high. Of course, it's not on record highs, but we bring out a lot of innovation, a lot of new products in all the different categories. So from running, spoke about tennis, outdoor, and then also every day. And finding people is easy and hard. So it's hard to find the right people. We really pay a lot of attention on culture because that's super important for us. At the same time, this year we had about 400 people. For that we get about 40,000 applications.
Oh my gosh.
So we can be very selective, which makes it easier to find the right ones.
Where are those jobs available? Where are you hiring those people?
So we are a global company, so our team sits around the world. Of course, Zurich is the biggest office. So we have about 2,000 people now. 700 of those are in Zurich. Berlin is a big hub for us, especially on the technology side. Portland is our big US office.
Why are all the shoe companies in Portland?
Yeah.
Adidas is there, Nike's there.
Why is the Silicon Valley of the sports industry?
Is it?
Yeah. But for us,
Is it? But are you there because people who've worked in the industry, you want them to come work for you, and they have the experience there?
No, it's actually. It was more a coincidence. So our first sales director in the US, he lived in Portland. So that's why we started there. We thought, we tap into the pool of the industry. But I think our first 20 hires were not from the industry, which was actually quite good because it helped us to do things differently and to disrupt. Of course, now this is changing. I had the pleasure to live there for 2 years, and when we started the brand, I moved over and helped building it. It's a great city. So
it's a great city.
Yeah. How do you guys? I mean, you guys have a very distinct approach, and you talk about innovation, and I feel like it's a big industry. It's a competitive industry. There's a fair amount of entrants in it. For those who might not be familiar, about how you guys distinguish yourselves from the rest.
So if you see the shoes, many of the shoes have the holes in the outsole, which is one of the obvious design marks that we have. And this allows us to really engineer how the sole and the shoe behaves. So it's not just the material that we use; it's also the shape and the size of the holes. And from that we developed the whole concept, including the speedboard that is in the shoe, but then also of course the materials. It's a lot about sustainability, and then always combining design and performance with sustainability is super important for us. But you want to build shoes for the fastest runners, like on Sunday, hopefully Helen Obiri here at the New York Marathon has a chance to win. But then, of course, maybe like myself, I'm also running, but I need a different shoe than she does. Yeah.
Do you get your shoe on an athlete and noticed? Do you see the direct connection in terms of sales and the impact that has on the brand?
Yeah, we call this the strategy that we have there is lightning and rain.
I like that.
So lightning is really all about the making it strike and allowing those athletes to perform on the highest level. But then it of course the goal is that the everyday runner also recognizes that and wears the shoes. It's not the same shoe. It needs to perform differently. But yeah, clearly we see it, and this is why we invest in that. We have built our own athlete team, which is called On Athletic Club, and we have seen so many great results this year. And the same is happening in tennis. Of course, Ben Shelton being in the semifinals in the U.S. Open was such a big moment. Now he won his first ATP in Tokyo. Iga Swiatek won again in Beijing. So it's just amazing.
Carol and I actually got to go to the U.S. Open this year. We broadcast from there each year, and it was great to see, especially the young Americans, make such a mark this year. So the manufacturing process for the shoes. Where are the shoes made? Vietnam, Switzerland?
Yeah, so all the shoes are developed in Switzerland. So we have a big development team there. Production is predominantly in Vietnam for footwear. For apparel, we also have parts in Europe, parts in China. But really, Vietnam has developed the capabilities to manufacture the best high-performing footwear in the world, and so that's why we're there.
Do you have a contract manufacturer there? Is that how it works, or do you guys have to build your own facility?
No, we work with factory partners, so we don't run our own factories. We have our own people in the factory to make sure that the quality is there and really translating the technology into manufacturing. But it's quite a complex process. So I mean, a shoe goes through almost 250 hands before it's done. So there are a lot of pieces in the shoe, and so that's you need to have good partners, and we have those, and they invest with us also in sustainable manufacturing. How can you reduce the emission of the manufacturing itself?
That's really part
Very
of the culture.
important.
I know. The idea of the athlete, right? Because the company was created, so that is a big part of your culture. But sustainability is too. And talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like the third pillar of our DNA. So I said it: performance, design, sustainability. Those are the three things. It's at the heart of what we do. We have a very young team, so it comes very natural from the inside. And for us, it's all about developing shoes that are made for circularity. I think this is the big goal of the industry.
Explain what
and the subscription service, right? Kind of
exactly,
makes
and
that happen.
we created the first shoe that is fully circular, made out of castor bean. So it's also not actually fuel based, so we said this is a shoe that you should never own. So we only made it available in a subscription model. So you rent it, you pay a monthly fee, you use the shoe, and when you think the shoe is ready to be returned, then we take it back and send a new pair. And this is the beginning of a journey for us. We will be expanding the technology into more models. Another angle that we had is what we call Clean Cloud, is actually using carbon from the air and making a shoe out of that. And here we're actually much faster in bringing that into mass market in the nearer future.
I'm sorry.
Do you ever see that you could go fully subscription with the shoes and nobody would buy these shoes?
I think you need to offer different business models with your sustainable products. So I think in the end the goal is that as many people as possible buy the products and buy sustainable products, right? You don't want to restrict this by a model, but at the same time you also want to encourage the customer to return the product, and so this is where we spend a lot of energy, and our Cyclone program gives us so many insights into how the customer reacts and what does it take for them to return it, and it's also such an incredible moment in the life cycle of the relationship with the customer, because it's clear indication I need a new pair. So you want to engage with the customer then.
Martin, we have 30 seconds, then we're going to come back. How many people are doing that right now? And it's kind of a trial, right now. But how many people are doing the subscriptions?
So we are at about 30,000 subscriptions at the moment.
Wow. I would do it. Wouldn't you do it, Tim?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Totally. I would totally get it. We're going to come back and talk some more. We're going to do a little bit of news. We're talking with Martin Hoffmann. He's Chief Financial Officer and co-CEO of On Holdings here in our studio. And as I mentioned, you can find it on Bloomberg TV, also on the Bloomberg Terminal and Bloomberg.com and on our YouTube channel. But the Chief Future Officer, which profiles CFOs and what they are doing and the importance of them in terms of strategy at the companies. That's what the show's all about. And he was featured in the last episode. So I highly recommend you check it out.
I wonder how many other CEOs are going to be running in the marathon this weekend here in New York.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's going to probably be a fair amount.
Yeah, there's a few.
We're just going to be honest. We've been looking at the On Holding website in the commercial break.
Yeah.
Because with us, we have a great guest.
You're trying to figure out the clouds. Which cloud do you want, Carol?
We are.
We got Martin Hoffmann. He's CFO and co-CEO of On Holdings, the shoe company based in Switzerland.
I'm not a runner.
You don't need to be. You can be a tennis player.
But
you can be a walker.
We both said we walk a lot. Got little foot issues, and we were like just kind of picking his brain about it. It is interesting about. I said you have so many offerings. And that's not tough to keep managing, refreshing, or is it just a case there is demand and there's different demands for different segments of the marketplace?
Yeah, we play in many different segments.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, we have our running assortment, and you have the different kinds of runners, from more cushion shoes, from faster shoes. But then the transition over into lifestyle, where of course you also have more limited editions, special editions in there. The tennis assortment, starting of course from the courts, the shoes that you play on court, so the Roger Pro, to more the everyday sneaker with the Roger. The outdoor assortment, trail running assortment. But it's for us it's important to maintain the premiumness. So price stability and being able to sell at full price is extremely important to us, which requires to be extremely intentional on inventory. We have rather long product life cycles. So even though we have a lot of different models, they have quite a long life cycle, which allows us to actually keep supply below demand many times. And then, of course, when you see the shoes at our retail partners, many of them are tier, so you don't find the full assortment everywhere.
Right.
The only place where you find it is exactly here
Like
on our on.com website.
Well, let's talk about the retail strategy here. Some interesting stats: about 60% of 2022 revenue came from North America, about 29% Europe, 6.6% in Asia Pacific, the rest of the world 4%. So, certainly dominated here in North America. In terms of the retail strategy, talk to us a little bit about bricks and mortar versus online and sort of how you balance having these partners that, like Foot Locker, like Dick's, that are facing headwinds right now.
So we truly believe in the multi-channel setup that we have. And this is how we started. So really working with our wholesale partners, working with on.com as our online platform, and then more and more also having our own retail stores. The first one was here in New York, Lafayette Street.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we have close to 30 stores. Just 2 weeks ago, we opened Miami.
You've been opening a lot.
Yeah, I think this week we opened our second one in London. So we want to be where the people shop. And so we don't want to force them into one channel. We want to work with premium partners who actually reach the right customers. You mentioned Dick's is a great partner in reaching the runner. Foot Locker is a great partner in reaching a younger customer. Fleet Feet also a great partner in reaching the runner. But then the full assortment is available on our online platform.
But wouldn't you rather have someone buy it online because the margins are better for you than buying it from one of your partners?
No, for us, it's really, we are there for the customer. And so the customer should decide where they want to shop. Of course, we can have the most intimate relationship with the customer in our own platform. We can have the best physical brand experience in our own retail stores. And this is how we want to win the customer there. But for us, it's really about the power of the multi-channel strategy, and the more they play in harmony and actually interact with each other, the better it is. So we actively send customers to our wholesale partners, vice versa.
You do. Interesting. And you have apparel too. And I'm curious, do you notice a bump in online sales when you open a store?
Definitely. So our biggest store is in London on Regent Street. We opened that in February this year, and ever since, really, our online web sales went up. The sales of our wholesale partners around the stores went up. So it had a big moment, and it's such an incredible store.
What's the hardest part of this business?
Just deciding what you do. We have so many opportunities,
Really?
much more than what we can execute on. So it's all about being focused. So we
Not going too fast?
Going too
things?
fast and just doing things right. So for us, it's all about durable growth, as we always say. So we want to grow top line, but we also want to grow in a profitable way and grow profitability over time, which is a good thing because it gives you rail guards on what you do. So you focus on a few things, but we are a global brand. We are a complex brand. We are in many areas. But we have so many more opportunities for the future, and this is also what we spoke about in our investor day just a few weeks ago. Yeah.
China, small part of the business now, but the growth opportunities are tremendous. Even with, we just talked about geopolitical tensions. It's on the minds of every CEO right now. You are a co-CEO at the company. Are you worried about the ability and potential for growth in China going forward?
So we have a big team there, about 150 people in China.
It's a big footprint.
It's still a small part of our business, but the brand is resonating extremely strongly with the customer there. It's just a pleasure to be there in June this year. It's incredible to see the quality of retail that is there. And at the same time, we are aware of the situation. I think we have the benefit of being a Swiss company, so that the heritage of being in a neutral market helps in that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're also cautious on how quickly we expand into China. Even so, it will be a major contributor for growth over the next years. It's a market where you need to work with own retail, and we're expanding on that. But very aware about the situation.
We have about a minute left, and want to go back to where we started. Give us an idea of where the consumer is strongest in the markets that you sell, and where the consumer is weakest in markets where you sell.
We feel that the consumer is strong everywhere. There are, if you take apparel, for example, apparel is a super important category for us. Even so, it's still small, but we see a huge opportunity there. There are markets like China where people discover us as a head-to-toe sportswear brand because we only started in 2018. We had apparel. If you look into areas in Central Europe where we started very early, of course, many discovered us through footwear. So there it's a bit harder to make underwear prominent as a head-to-toe brand.
Right.
But we are working on this, and tennis, for example, helps extremely with that.
Well, listen, good luck.
Thank you
the
very
marathon.
much.
We'll be all watching out. Tim said he's going to be
I'll be
watching
there.
from Brooklyn, cheering you on. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it. I hope you will come back and let us know how things are going.
Thank you.
And thanks for the tips on your products. Martin Hoffmann, Chief Financial Officer, Co-CEO of On Holdings.